Kratos died in God of War. Let me explain. So, since the end of God of War 2018, everyone has been worried about the death of Kratos. Even while playing Ragnarok, there was some kind of suspicion at the back of everyone's mind that how is he gonna die? And the fears came true when the norm said, "You will die, Kratos of Sparta." But see, here's the thing. They did not say Kratos, the god of war, or just Kratos, or just refer to him by like, "You will die." They specifically said Kratos of Sparta. And when you look the prophecy from that angle, you see the prophecy actually came true. The Kratos that we knew up until the end of Ragnarok was a completely different character. He didn't really care for anyone and other than him or Atreus, nor did he trusted anyone. And if it meant that it would bring him or his son peace, he would have killed anyone. Or he would have just like not bother helping them to keep himself and Atreus out of harm's way. And we can see this in 2018 when the duo gets out of the cave and they see Sindri getting attacked by the dragon. Even though Kratos wants to help him, he doesn't really take the initiative because he doesn't want Atreus to get hurt. And we see that when Atreus tries to help him, but he just grabs him and asks him what you're doing. But when Atreus requests him, he finally gives in and he's like, "Yeah, we will help him." And we can see this happening throughout the game, where Atreus wants to help someone, but Kratos just ignores him and responds with, "This isn't our concern." But in this game, we see Kratos change in a major way. He trusts people more. He is more open to help others. The most apparent example of it is when he wanted to help the giant jellyfish that was stuck underneath. And it was so out of character for him that even Atreus was caught by surprise. We can also see this when he spared the life of the librarian. And he told her, he told her that the light elves need to know their history. They don't need it to be hidden. Also in this game, we see Kratos showing more emotions, although they are not as apparent, but he does do that. For examples, when in the beginning of the game, when Atreus is tying the wolves, if you take a close look at it, Kratos is actually smiling a little bit. Or when he says, "I like it," after he couldn't figure out Mimir's riddle. The most apparent example for this change is that when he finally lets out his feeling with Atreus when they have to go back to Sindri's house from Helheim. That's the first time we have seen Kratos bring out his emotions and truly say what he feels. But the moment that solidifies the birth of new Kratos is when he starts Ragnarok just to get revenge for the death of Brock, someone who is an Atreus. And it is a massive change because even during at the end of part of the war, he was okay with him and Atreus dying if it meant that they could get their revenge. And here's the funny thing. Even Kratos doesn't realize how much of a major change it is. It is shown in the final speech when he mentions it doesn't matter what he does, he always comes back on the path of revenge. The thing is, this time it is not for something that was done to him or something that was done to Atreus. It was for a complete stranger that became his friend. It is not until the very last moments of the game where Kratos realizes that he has become a far better man from what he was when he looks at his own mural, and that's when he realizes that for the first time in his life, he has people around him who trust him, thank him, and look up to him to protect them. This moment hits even more harder when you remember the meeting Kratos had with Odin.
What do you even know of godhood? In your lifetimes, has anyone ever worshipped you? Ever prayed to you? Can you even imagine that kind of love? No! You don't care about mortals. You don't care about anything beyond yourself, beyond the monster who kills without cause.
And that is why Kratos of Sparta is dead, but God of War remains.